Why the narcissist does not ruminate. A common misconception about the narcissist is that we sit there, wailing and gnashing our teeth, thinking about you, again and again and again. This misconception stems from two places. First of all, the misinformation that is portrayed about narcissists by people who don't truly understand it, and simply regurgitating what they've heard or read elsewhere without bringing anything meaningful or accurate to the table with regard to narcissism. This is a problem as a consequence of the proliferation of so-called narcissist abuse recovery coaches that have sprung up over recent years. Secondly, the presence of emotional thinking, which, as you know, when elevated, results in the triple threat of flawed logic, corruption of traits, and charging the battery of feeling. Quite simply, your emotional thinking makes you believe that the narcissist is sat there obsessing over you, either good or bad, so that you keep thinking about the narcissist, that you fear what the narcissist might do, that you're made to feel anxious about what might next happen, or that you are made to feel special because you think the narcissist is thinking about you all of the time in a good way. You're being misled, you're being conned, your emotional thinking wants you to keep thinking about the narcissist so that you feed your addiction, and therefore it distorts the situation through this flawed logic to cause you to believe that the narcissist is sat there thinking about you time and time again. Part of this, of course, manifests in the behaviour of the narcissist because the narcissist actually says, "I've been thinking about you all night." Believe me, we haven't. Why? It serves no purpose, but more of that later. In effect, the narcissist tells you a lie. Where an aware narcissist, the narcissist knows they've not been thinking about you all night, but has no problem saying it anyway because we have no sense of guilt or remorse. More usually, the unaware narcissist says it because the narcissism makes them believe that that is the truth. The lie becomes the narcissist's truth. The narcissism needs to control you. And therefore, where you're painted white during seduction, one of the things that it does is to cause the narcissist to believe that you're very, very special. And in order to play up to that and flatter you, which is a benign form of manipulation, the narcissist will say such things as, "I can't stop thinking about you. I've been thinking about you all afternoon. You're on my mind all of the time." And that sounds wonderful, doesn't it? That somebody is so preoccupied with you that it makes you feel special, wanted, desired. But of course, all that's happening is that the narcissism has rewritten history to make the narcissist believe that they've been thinking about you all night, all afternoon, that you're on their mind all of the time, so that they're then motivated to say that for the purposes of benign manipulation to assert control over you, draw character traits, fuel and residual benefits from you. The narcissist has not been spending all evening thinking about you. Similarly, the narcissist might threaten you. "I've been thinking about all the ways I am going to make your life an absolute misery." No, the narcissist hasn't. Again, the narcissism, where it's an unaware narcissist, has caused the narcissist's history to be rewritten to make the narcissist believe that that's what they've been thinking, so that they are motivated with utter conviction to issue that threat. The fact is, sitting around thinking about you all of the time doesn't serve any purpose for us. Yes, we might get a little bit of thought fuel as we think about the fact that you think that we're wonderful, or that you're frightened of us, that you're anxious about our behaviours. But thought fuel is ephemeral in nature. It's weak and doesn't last long. We need the proximate fuel. We need to witness your reactions. We need to see you getting upset. We need to hear you shouting at us. We need to see you writhing beneath us, giving it the oohs and the ahs and "oh my God, this feels so good." Proximate fuel is far more valuable to us. And therefore, if a narcissist were just to spend his time thinking about your reactions, he would soon plummet towards a fuel crisis, because that thought fuel is not enough to sustain him. It's like feeding somebody on breadcrumbs. Eventually, it will not be enough, and it doesn't take too long at all before that hunger appears. The breadcrumbs, the thought fuel, simply doesn't sustain. Moreover, the narcissism is not geared to having us keep thinking about you. Because we must obtain the prime aims, If we're sat in a room on our own and all we do is think about you, we are getting some limited thought fuel, which, as I've just explained, isn't sufficient. We might be gaining control over you, perhaps thinking about you in a way whereby we hate you, where we think that you're an awful human being and we don't want anything to do with you, which is the third assertion of control. We stay in withdrawal. We're not getting any character traits from you, and we're not getting any residual benefits from you either. And therefore, sitting and thinking about you repeatedly really does not serve the prime aims effectively at all. Instead, our narcissism must drive us to go and seek those prime aims by causing us to go and interact with you and other people. Indeed, it's also worth bearing in mind that when we're interacting with somebody else, you won't be on our mind at all. It's as if you don't exist. Yes, you can pop up on our radars because we suddenly think about you, like a random thought, or we're reminded of you by something or somebody. But you're not occupying our mind in the way that we might occupy your mind. Many of you, and I know this from my own victims and of course the people that I consult with, profess to the fact that the narcissist is just in their head repeatedly, thinking about why has the narcissist done this, what will the narcissist do next, why is the narcissist treating me this way, will the narcissist be there, why are they with this person, 1,000 questions whirring around and around. And that happens for two reasons. First of all, your high emotional thinking keeps you thinking to feed the addiction. And secondly, as a consequence of that high emotional thinking, you're not able to get hold of those thoughts and marshal them and govern them to stop yourself initially thinking about the narcissist. And so much doesn't make sense because your head is filled with emotional thinking rather than logic, you fall into the trap and get onto the narcissist wheel of misery because this happens. I need to understand why the narcissist has done this, so I'm going to think about it. I still don't understand, and now, although I don't realise this, I've increased my emotional thinking, making it even less likely that I'll understand. But I've now been conned into thinking, because I don't understand, I need to keep on thinking about the narcissist, so I will do so. I continue to think about the narcissist. Unwittingly, I've just topped up my emotional thinking further, making it even more difficult for me to understand because there's no room for logic, and therefore, because I don't understand, I continue to think that I must try and understand, and I carry on thinking about the narcissist, and so on and so forth. And the consequence of this is that because you end up repeatedly thinking about us, you mistakenly, and again driven by your emotional thinking, assume that the narcissist is looking at the world in a similar way to you. That where the narcissist professed to be heartbroken by your departure, that the narcissist is sat at home crying his eyes out thinking about you. No. The narcissist will rail against that injustice, of course, but the narcissism won't allow the narcissist just to sit in a room crying his eyes out thinking about you. It serves no adequate purpose. Instead, it'll make him go and cry to somebody else, because that's a pity play, and their response will then cause the narcissist to receive fuel, to feel that they can then indirectly control you. They will receive fuel from that individual. They will be able to control them and you. They will get residual benefits from that individual. And therefore, causing the narcissist to sit and ruminate does not aid the prime aims. Furthermore, rumination on the part of narcissist brings with it accountability, reflecting on behaviours. Should I have done this? Ought I have behaved this way? The narcissism does not let us do that. Why? Because it will threaten our sense of control. If the narcissist sits there, reflecting on what they've done and how they did it, then that would allow control to be affected, because with that reflection comes accountability. And we must never be accountable, because accountability threatens control, and we must always have control. So the narcissist does not ruminate for two considerable reasons. First, it does not support the pursuit of the prime aims. And secondly, and sort of tucked in within the issue of control of those prime aims, rumination would undermine accountability and the application of control. A narcissist might speak to somebody else and say, I don't think I did, I've been thinking about things and I think I've done them the wrong way. That, again, is the narcissism causing the narcissist's history to be revised to make them believe that they've thought that, so that they can say that with conviction to that person for the purpose of controlling them and drawing fuel. A narcissist, of course, might contemplate this pension plan is not as good as that other one with regard to their own lives, but rumination about their behaviour vis-a-vis other people just doesn't happen for the reasons that I've explained. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.